Another week, another game. I know I said that a lot last year. That was how it began everything. But it's really the same thing as this year. So just gonna continue going, talking about games. Gonna interview Nick, see what he says, and we're gonna ask him some questions and see how that goes. So, what game are we playing this week, Nick? I'm playing King of Fighters '98 Ultimate Match. Uh, kind of wanted to do a fighting game, so I decided I haven't ever played a King of Fighters game, so I'm gonna go and do that. That's the plan. See how it goes. So King of Fighters '98 Ultimate Edition, or Ultimate Match, excuse me, is a game that came out actually in 2008, which was the 10-year anniversary of the game, math. And it's kind of an upgraded version of the original game. It has some characters who weren't in the initial one, as well as different move sets for characters from different fighting games that they came in, and some new bosses and different stages, for example, based on things like China and Hong Kong, because that's where the game itself was super popular. So the developers thought that would be a good idea to go and build new stages based on that to show their appreciation for the people who went and played it. Came out on a multitude of platforms. I mean, it started out in Japan on an arcade machine and then eventually worked its way to PlayStation and then Microsoft, and then actually it was a launch title for the Nintendo Switch. So, huge history of games. The King of Fighters series itself also is pretty big because it started out in 1994 and it's still going on. They're going to have a new game coming out soon, and they've changed it from year name to actual just number title. I think I want to say 15 is what they're up to now. I'm not 100% sure. I completely forgot. But there are definitely a ton of King of Fighters games which all follow along this idea of characters from different games and different series go and fight for the title of King of Fighters. It's a giant tournament that they're in, and whoever wins is dubbed the King of Fighters, and that's what it is. So, with that in mind, let's check in with Nick and see what he thinks of the game. So, King of Fighters '98 Ultimate Match is a game. I mean, there's only so many things to go and say about it. It reminds me of last year when I did like Streets of Rage, for example, because that was a game that came out in the '90s and went and played, and so there's kind of limited things to go and talk about with it because of based on the time. And this is the same thing. It's called '98 Ultimate Match. The game came out initially in 1998, and then the Ultimate Match was later, but it's a game from the '90s, and so yeah, the story of having all these different fighters that are from all these different games in general to become dubbed the quote King of Fighters and compete in this tournament and all of the reasons and backstories. It's unique, and they all have their own fighting styles, and you have tons of different stuff you can go and do for it. But I mean, the biggest thing I found was all of it was in Japanese, at least what I played. Not saying that there's a way to go and change that, or there isn't a way. I couldn't find it or figure it out. So all of it was in Japanese, which made it super interesting and not able to understand anything except for when I was button mashing, but I didn't understand like the characters themselves. So and it was interesting because I'm saying interesting a lot because I didn't really enjoy the game. It's something that happens with games. I mean, you can go and play any game and you might not like it. And I know plenty of people like the King of Fighters series, and I know it's still going on now, and they have another one coming out in a few years. And so it is a game series that is a big fighting game, not as big as the ones like Tekken or Street Fighter or Soul Calibur, but it's still, or I guess like Dynasty Fighter, Virtual Fighter is what it's called. Um, but it's a popular game series, and I just don't enjoy it that much, and so that might have something to do with me just constantly saying interesting. That might have something to do with my overall thought of it, but it wasn't the best in my opinion. But that's again limited based on the time that it came out. So that's pretty unfortunate. I mean, I guess you can't win them all. So in that idea, who would want to go and play this game? I think anyone that likes fighting games would want to go and try it at least. I mean, it's a fighting game that you gotta know combos and tons of different characters from plenty of different games. So either there are some like little throw-ins to there and little Easter eggs, I guess, in the characters that you can play as, especially in Ultimate Match because it has all these extra characters in it that the original '98 one didn't, and so it's kind of unique in that sense. But just that's all I'd really say. I don't think the game really is for everyone. Now, do you think you would want to go and try a King of Fighters game in the future? Like one of the newer ones, perhaps? I mean, I might go and try like a newer King of Fighters game, like one of the newer ones, like the one, as I said, that comes out in 2020. Might go into it, but I've never been the biggest fan of fighting games. I always try. I always go into a fighting game because I wanna play different games. That's part of this 52 weeks of gaming is playing different games and trying to see what I'm going to like and not going to like. And yeah, there are some genres, typically sports, that I'm not the biggest fan of, but I'm still going to try it because who knows? Maybe I'll find a sports game that I actually do like and enjoy. It is entirely a possibility. So who knows? All I can say is that I'm going to have to keep playing different games and just see what happens. Bum 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 ba-dum, bum 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 ba-bum ba-dum, bum 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 ba-dum 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 ba-dum, ba bum bum ch ba-dum ba-dum ch bum 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 ch ba-dum ba-dum ch bum 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 ch ba-dum ba-dum ch, puka chicka bow bow.